Chapter 1. What is positive discipline? How to discipline my child is one of the most widely searched terms on Google. It shows how desperate we all are to look for ways to discipline them. But if you ever notice, none of the websites, at least the most reliable ones, ever suggest punishments and negative reinforcements to instill discipline. Traditionally, we all thought it was a surefire way to teach manners, but new research suggests the opposite. Punishments do more than just physical or emotional damage. They affect the brain. Kids that are brought up in families where punishments and abuse have been considered a norm for disciplining children have raised mentally unstable, aggressive, and antisocial adults. Durant and Ensom, 2012, Ohen et al., 2006, Smith, 2006. So how do we discipline them if punishments are out? Well, you aren't the only parent grappling with that thought. Children of today are sensitive. They struggle with competition as well as social anxiety both online and offline. Despite knowing that, we are all guilty of screaming and yelling on our children. That leaves us with only one thing: a new approach. Enter positive discipline. Understanding positive disciplining. The concept of positive discipline is based on a model first introduced by Alfred Adler and Rudolf Dreikurs. Dr. Adler in 1920 introduced this unique idea of parenting in the United States. He believed that when children are treated respectfully, they behaved well. He also pointed out that leniency doesn't mean allowing them to do whatever they wanted to do, and thus drew a clear line between spoiling them and respecting their wishes. Dreikurs and Adler wanted parents to adopt a kind and compassionate approach to teaching. Later, based on the same principles, Jane Nelson, who was the director of the project Adlerian Counseling Concepts for Encouraging Parents and Teachers, or ACCEPT, a federally funded project that received excellent feedback in its developmental phase, self-published a book in 1981. It was called Positive Discipline. Later in 1987, it was published by Ballantine. Research from recent studies confirms that children are hardwired from birth to connect with others. They have been doing it before birth, in the womb too. They want to have a sense of belonging, want to be pampered and looked after, and play a key role in shaping the community. Children that are able to connect with their parents, peers, and educators from an early age exhibit fewer behavioral problems. Positive discipline focuses on developing a strong and deep relationship between the parent and the child that is based on mutual respect and communication. It focuses on teaching parents to teach their children not just the what of things, but also the why. Positive disciplining uses approaches such as kindness, empathy, compassion, and respect. There are 5 important criteria for positive discipline. The first is being kind yet firm at the same time. This means that you have to guide your child towards the right behavior, but also be firm and definitive. The second is promoting a sense of significance and belonging. This involves helping them with opportunities that allow them to connect with you and the family. The third is looking for effective solutions in the long run. The goal shouldn't only be to prevent misbehavior in the present, but to eliminate the bad habit altogether. This requires that we offer children solutions that are positive and acceptable to exhibit instead. The fourth is teaching valuable life and social skills. We must encourage our children to respect others, show concern for them, be accountable, problem solve, cooperate, and contribute at home and in the community. And finally, introduce kids to their own skills and talents so that they know how to use them in constructive ways. The perks of disciplining children using positive parenting. When we allow kids to become active participants in their behavioral development, it teaches them independence and builds their self-esteem. This improves communication in the house as everyone feels like they're part of a team, equals. There's also the establishment of trust between the parent and child that further strengthens their bond in the future, especially when they enter adolescence. Multiple studies prove the benefits of positive parenting and disciplining. According to one, positive discipline reduces the instances of childhood depression. Dallaire et al., 2006. The study focused on how different traditional parenting styles led to an increase in mental health issues in children when they became adults, and how positive discipline proved promising. It also talked about how being a disciplinarian led to increased stress levels in parents and how they unintentionally pass it on to their children. Some additional benefits of positive parenting and why parents of today should stick to it are discussed below. Promotes happiness and boosts self-esteem. When the focus is on positive action and the child feels valued and cared for, it can lead to greater levels of happiness. When they feel included and important, their self-esteem also improves. When the focus is on encouragement of good behavior as opposed to discouraging the bad, the child develops a positive outlook towards life. They start to view mistakes as opportunities and lacking and imperfections as normal and acceptable. They are more willing to try new things as there is no fear of punishments. Weintraub, 1998. And as for the parents, this approach can reduce stress and promote happiness. There are fewer clashes over who gets to have the final say in things, as both the parent and the child are aware of the expectations that have been set. Also, when there are fewer conflicts, parents can finally experience some peace of mind and prevent themselves from becoming overwhelmed by negative thoughts. Eliminates power struggles and negative behavior. Sometimes children try to get away with negative behavior using techniques like crying or whining. However, when you try to discipline them positively, you may have to remember to set limits for them. At the same time, you have to focus on positive behavior instead of the negative and offer positive alternatives. When children know of these ways, they are less likely to disobey you, and gradually their bad behavior diminishes. It also leads to fewer arguments and fights between you and your child, suggests Natasha Becker, the self-published bestseller author and mother, Becker, 2019. Makes for effective communication. Effective communication is one of the most essential components of positive disciplining. It is the very goal of this parenting approach. It allows us to communicate with our child in a positive and action-oriented way, instead of yelling or punishing them for negative behaviors. Being positive encourages children to come forward and share their feelings, because they know that they will be listened to and not judged or insulted. They know they won't be talked down and screamed at for having opinions. When children feel encouraged in this way, it develops a trusting relationship between the parent and the child. Building Trust Through Communication with Teens, 2013.